I was in a rush this morning, so I wasn't really paying attention to what you were telling me. I hope I heard wrong, but did you say something about being away for 3 days? Something about the funeral?
Yeah, my dad recently passed away, remember? I told you about it a few days ago. He had a heart attack, and he didn't make it. I'm the one organizing the funeral and everything. Not to mention sorting out his house and his belongings. So yeah, you heard right. I'll be away for around 3 days, taking care of it all. I have to fly to his hometown and meet with his relatives and friends. It's going to be hard, but I have to do it.
Can't you get a relative to sort all of that out? You have aunts and uncles and cousins, right? Why do you have to do everything yourself? Can't you just delegate some tasks to them?
I'm his only child, remember? My mom's already passed away, so who do you want me to ask? It's obviously my responsibility. I'm the closest person to him. I have to make sure everything is done properly and respectfully. It's the least I can do for him.
So what am I supposed to eat for 3 days? I'm too busy to cook and clean for 3 whole days. I don't care who you ask, but get someone else to take care of all this.
Don't be such a baby. It's only 3 days. I'm sure you can figure things out and feed yourself. You're a grown man, not a helpless child. You can order some food online or go to a restaurant or make something simple. You can also use the washing machine and the vacuum cleaner if you need to. It's not rocket science.
I'm not kidding around. I don't care what excuse you have. I won't let you slack off your responsibilities like this. You're neglecting me and our marriage. You're putting your dead father above your living husband. How dare you?
You know my dad just died, right? It isn't an excuse. It's a fact. Can't you show some sympathy and support?
Exactly. He's already passed away, right? What difference does a funeral make? It's not like he'll be coming back. Get an uncle or something to sort it out. You don't even need to be there, do you? It's just a waste of time. You should stay here with me and focus on our relationship.
You can be a real jerk, you know? It's important to me. It's my last chance to say goodbye. Don't call it a waste of time.
Say goodbye? He's already dead, you know. Do you think his ghost is coming to the funeral or something?
I want to see my father one last time at the funeral before we bury him. Can't you understand that much? Are you going to have the same attitude when your own parents pass away?
My parents are still pretty healthy, thank you very much. Don't try and jinx them by saying stuff like that.
Way to miss the point.
You're the one missing the point. Have you forgotten who you owe this blissful life of ours to? Missing one measly funeral is your biggest worry. Do you know how lucky you are? Remind me, who's the one keeping the lights on again?
You are. I know you're the one making money for us to live on. But I take care of everything around the house, don't I?
Without money, there will be no house. It's because I have such a good job that we can afford to live like this in the first place, isn't it? Am I wrong?
And I appreciate that, like I've told you a million times before.
So I guess that means you understand, right? What's more important? Going to say goodbye or whatever at your dad's funeral? Or coming to take care of things at home? Which is it?
If you're so worried about food, I'll cook in advance. I'll leave enough for 3 days in the fridge for you.
No. I want to eat freshly cooked food. Don't I deserve that much at least? And besides, it's not only food I'm talking about. What about the washing? And cleaning the house?
Like I said, it's only 3 days. You can get by 3 days without me taking care of those things for you, can't you?
No, I can't. You should just keep quiet and keep taking care of the house for me. You shouldn't be wasting your time on all this other nonsense.
Who do you think I am? Your servant or something? I have my own life too, you know. You don't own me.
Wow. Aren't you being a little overdramatic? Not to mention ungrateful. I'm the one you owe that life of yours to, you know?
Whatever. Say what you want. I'm taking care of my father's funeral, whether you like it or not.
Has nothing I said got through that thick head of yours? I'll make this as simple as possible. Go if you want, but don't act surprised to see if divorce papers when you get back.
Fine. Whatever you say. I'm not skipping this.
Fine. I'll be picking divorce papers up on my way home from work. When you see the papers in person, I hope you'll think this through a little more carefully. I've canceled your old man's funeral. So don't worry about leaving tomorrow. Now all that's left is for you to ask someone else to sort out his house. So I suggest you get on that ASAP.
What are you talking about? That's the most disrespectful and heartless thing you could do.
You were gonna go anyway, weren't you? despite me making it very clear that I'm not allowing you to. So I realized this would be the simplest way to get you to do the right thing.
This must be some kind of sick joke, right? There's no way you'd suddenly cancel the funeral the day before. That's low, even for you. It was all done under my name anyway. There's no way they'd let you.
You think so, huh? But I looked through all your drawers last night and I found the contract you made with the funeral services. Then it was pretty easy to call them and cancel it as your husband. They just believed I was calling on your behalf since I had all of the details.
So you're telling me this isn't a joke? You've actually called off the service?
Yeah, I did. It was pretty easy once I had a contract.
I can't believe this. Are you insane? How could you do this to me and to my dad? How could you be so cruel and selfish?
The cancellation fee was obviously pretty high on this short notice, so you can expect your card to be charged pretty soon.
What am I supposed to do now? I've invited all of his family and friends, and the morgue was only supposed to keep my father until tomorrow. How am I going to explain this to them? How am I going to face them?
How the hell should I know?
Didn't I tell you before? I'm his nearest kin, so this is all my responsibility. Do you have any idea how much trouble you've just caused me? Do you even care?
That's why I told you before. Get a relative to take care of all this. Oh, and that reminds me. I also saw that ugly black dress of yours.
You sold the dress I was gonna wear to the funeral too?
I actually got $20 for that old thing. Can you believe it?
What were you thinking?
What? It's not like you'll be needing it anymore, right? Not just this funeral. You won't be needing a dress for any kind of occasion, will you? I hope you can get that through your head now. You'll be at home taking care of the housework 365 days a year from now on. Got it?
What do you think I am, exactly? Your wife or your servant?
What kind of question is that? You are my beloved wife, of course.
You were nothing like this before we got married. I don't know if you've changed, or if this is just the real you coming out.
Where is this coming from all of a sudden?
Did you just marry me to have someone to do the housework for you?
Hey, I know you're upset, but don't start slandering me now. I want to start a family, of course. So get ready to give me a kid one day too, okay?
I guess you expect me to take on all the responsibility of raising that kid too then, huh?
You're the woman in this house, aren't you? So do you really need to even ask such a stupid question? Besides, don't you get it already? Everything besides bringing the money in is your job.
It's just as I thought. That's how you actually see things.
Do you understand yet? How many times do I have to remind you? I'm the one keeping the lights on. I'm the one putting food on the table. So of course, that gives me the right to make every decision in this house.
Sorry, but I never agreed to any of that.
I really don't care about how you feel. As long as you understand what I'm telling you, you should know what you have to do.
That's enough. I get it now. It might have taken me a while, but I see who you really are now.
Good. Then grow up and do as I say, okay?
Are you really okay with this, though? You're going to get fired from your job at this rate, you know?
What's that supposed to mean? Is that some kind of threat?
It's not a threat. It's a question. Are you really okay getting fired from such a prestigious company?
What are you talking about? Whatever happens between us has nothing to do with my company, right? Are you feeling okay?
The president of your company. His name is Robert Bateman, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So what? And how do you know his name? I don't remember ever mentioning it to you.
He was supposed to be at my dad's funeral tomorrow, too.
Mr. Bateman was? Why would he go to your dad's funeral?
Oh, I guess I must not have told you. Robert and my dad were really close. They have been really good friends since childhood.
Your dad and Mr. Bateman were...
You know the company you are so proud to work for? My dad and Mr. Bateman actually established it together. My dad was a huge part of the business when it was still on its way up.
Stop spouting nonsense. This is the first I've heard of any of this.
That's because my dad retired pretty early when he got sick. He asked me not to tell you because he didn't want you to feel awkward around him, or try too hard to be respectful or polite when we see him.
Are you serious?
Which is why your president had no intentions of missing my father's funeral. He even called to pay his respects and confirm the funeral time and location. But how do you think he's going to react when he finds out about this? That his own employee went and canceled his best friend's funeral the day before it was meant to take place?
Wait a minute. Does he know about me? Does he know that I'm married to his friend's daughter?
I don't know. My dad prepared a list of people he wanted at his funeral before he passed away. That's how I invited him. Unless my dad mentioned it to him at some point, maybe he doesn't know.
If he does know, it will leave a pretty bad impression of me to not attend, right?
What are you trying to say? Have you gone from wanting the funeral called off altogether to wanting to attend yourself? You told me I shouldn't even go, didn't you? You wanted to leave it to my relatives?
Well, I mean, the situation has obviously changed now.
Besides, you've already gone and canceled it, haven't you?
It's probably not too late to cancel the cancellation.
Excuse me?
If I call them right now, they should be able to stop the cancellation. I'll just say it was a misunderstanding.
I've already been charged the cancellation fee. I'm pretty sure it's too late for that now.
In that case, I'll arrange another funeral at the same place and at the same time. He'll never know.
Oh, will you? What about the funeral attire? You sold the only dress I could wear.
I'll buy you a new dress. So please, let's just forget any of this happened.
You're unbelievable. As soon as you find out it's going to affect you, you do a complete 180. You didn't care at all when it was just about me grieving my late father.
But if I lose this job in such a crazy way, my life's over. Our industry is pretty small, and Mr. Bateman really gets around.
Oh, I see. So it's no problem for me to leave the house either now, I assume.
Of course. I'll take care of everything while you're away. Oh wait, no. I'll attend the funeral with you.
That won't be necessary. I don't want you near my father.
Don't say that.
Don't worry. I won't say anything out of the ordinary to Mr. Bateman.
You really won't? Do you promise?
Yes.
Then it should be fine.
I guess that's that then. The funeral is over. It was a solemn and dignified ceremony. Everyone who knew my father came to pay their respects.
I see. Did Mr. Bateman really show up?
Of course he did. He even shed some tears for my father. He said he was his best friend and mentor, and that he owed him everything.
And did you talk to him? You didn't say anything weird, did you? You know how important he is for my career, right?
That's really all you care about, isn't it? But don't worry, I didn't. I just thanked him for coming and for his kind words.
I see. Then it's all well and good. I'm glad everything went smoothly.
By the way, I have something to talk to you about.
And what's that? Is it about the inheritance? Did your father leave you anything?
Now that the funeral is done, I've filed for a divorce. I've had enough of this sham of a marriage.
You've done what now? You've actually filed for divorce?
I've left the papers on the kitchen table. So make sure to fill in all the parts you're supposed to, okay? And don't try to delay or contest it. It's over.
Is this some kind of joke? You're just trying to scare me or something, right?
Of course I'm serious. I wouldn't tell such a lame joke. This is not funny at all.
But the funeral went off without a hitch, didn't it?
That's got nothing to do with anything. The funeral was for my father, not for us. It doesn't change anything between us.
What do you mean? I organized another funeral at the exact same time and place as the original one, after you canceled it without telling me. I even bought you a new dress for it, after you sold the one your father gave you. So what's the problem?
I told you, the funeral has nothing to do with it. It's obvious that marrying you was a mistake. When you went and canceled the funeral on a whim, and even sold the dress I got for it, that was the final nail in the coffin, if you'll excuse the pun. That's when I realized that this is really pointless. Our marriage is unsalvageable.
I don't understand. You should have said something back then, in that case. Why did you wait until now to tell me this?
I just didn't want to get even more busy while my hands were still full with the funeral preparations. I wanted to focus on grieving my father. I know you only care about what Mr. Bateman thought, but my purpose for holding the funeral was to say goodbye to my dad.
Is that how it is?
Yes, that's how it is. So hurry up and submit what you need to, and consider our marriage over.
Do what you want. But don't cry to me when you run out of money.
I should be fine for a while. I'm getting over $50,000 in inheritance after all.
What? $50,000?
Yeah, that's right.
You should have told me about that a long time ago. I'm pretty sure you owe me half of that. We have to split everything down the middle for the divorce, right?
That doesn't include inheritance. Don't you even know that much about the law?
Is that right? Damn it.
And I'll start working soon enough anyway, so you don't have to worry about me crying or anything.
Ha! Will you now? Good luck with that. Finding a job isn't that easy, you know.
I already have an offer. Mr. Bateman told me he owes a lot of his success to my father, so he asked if I'd be willing to work at his company.
Mr. Bateman really offered you a job directly? Why would he do that?
I told him about everything that happened, and it seems like he felt bad for me.
You did what? What exactly did you tell him?
Everything you did to me, forcing me to stay home every day, threatening divorce if I went to the funeral, and finally, canceling it when I said I was going anyway.
What? Didn't you promise me not to say any weird stuff to him?
Yes, and I kept that promise. I didn't say anything weird to him. All I told him was the truth.
This can't be.
Well, it is. So I expect you to be fired pretty soon.
What? Why? There's no way he's going to fire me just for this.
It's not just for this, though, is it?
And what's that supposed to mean?
He told me your performance at work is pretty bad anyway. So you were already on thin ice. You haven't met the sales quotas for a while now, have you?
That's nonsense. What the hell do you know about my sales performance?
Believe me or not, I don't care. But it looks like you've been on the chopping block for a while now. Isn't it best for you to start looking for a new job as soon as possible?
Don't patronize me. I don't need your advice.
My original intentions were to just leave you with the divorce papers. I don't really care what happens to you.
Then why? Why did you have to talk to Mr. Bateman?
When I saw my dad's face at the funeral, I suddenly remembered. I remembered what you said, how you called my dad's funeral a pointless waste of time. I thought there was no way I'd ever forgive myself for letting you off the hook so easily after that.
I was only kidding.
You were kidding? Was that funny to you? I, for one, didn't find it very funny. That's why I've decided that the first thing I'm spending my dad's inheritance on is lawyer fees.
What? Just how much are you spending on a lawyer?
You've been a pretty awful husband. I want to make sure I come out of the divorce with everything I deserve. You've been borderline abusive, and you've stopped me from earning my own money. So I think I deserve a lot of our shared items as well as decent alimony.
You can't do that. You have no evidence of any abusive behavior anyway.
I've kept a diary. It should be evidence enough. That, along with records of our texts, should be more than enough evidence.
You don't have to go that far. Give me a break. You're getting such a big inheritance. You don't need that much money from me, do you?
At times like these, I remember what my dad used to always say. Whatever you do, you should give it 100%. So I guess that should go for divorce, too. So I've decided not to go easy on you. I'll make sure you get everything you deserve.
I'm begging you. Please rethink all of this. We can give it another go. I promise I'll be the same guy I was when we were dating. I'm sorry for how I've behaved since our marriage.
Okay, now that's what you call a joke. Anyway, I advise you to start looking for a good lawyer too. If you don't agree to the terms my lawyer is going to lay out, then I'm prepared to go to court. Going to court is going to cost quite a lot of money, not to mention time. Can you really afford all that time and money while you're looking for a new job?
Please, can you just forgive me? I'm sorry for everything I said and did. So please, just reconsider all of this.
Goodbye.
Please, wait.
Maverick's life took a turn for the worse after he lost his job at the company where he had worked for years. He also had to pay me a hefty sum in the divorce, thanks to my excellent lawyer. He struggled to find another job that matched his previous status and salary, but his pride prevented him from accepting anything less. He refused to ask for a reference from Mr. Bateman, his former boss and my father's friend. Mr. Bateman had been very disappointed in Maverick's performance and conduct, and had fired him without hesitation. He spent his savings recklessly and drowned his sorrows in alcohol. He became addicted to drinking and neglected his health and hygiene. Soon, he was homeless and living in the park. I was shocked by how fast he fell from grace. I never thought he would end up like that. Meanwhile, I moved to a cozy apartment and used my father's inheritance to pursue higher education. I turned down Mr. Bateman's job offer, as I felt it was based on nepotism rather than merit. He had offered me a position in his company out of sympathy and loyalty to my father, but I declined it out of principle. I wanted to earn my own success through hard work and dedication. I enrolled in a prestigious university and focused on my studies. I decided to major in psychology, as I had always been interested in human behavior and emotions. I also joined some clubs and activities and made some new friends. I felt happy and fulfilled with my new life.